Today's video starts on a humid and warm morning in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'll be traveling to a few places along the Atlantic Ocean today. Everything today I'll be seeing for the first time. However, Virginia Beach is more familiar for my mama, whose parents lived here for a while, and she spent the occasional holiday and summer here. Her father was in the Navy, and there's a Navy base near here. And upon research, I learned that while they were dating, my father stayed with my mama and her parents during Christmas one year. That brings me terrible flashbacks when I visited their old dorm building at the University of Central Florida. So let's review, shall we? Not only did my parents basically live together during college, when they were teenagers, they spent the holidays together in an apartment with my grandparents. Excuse me for just 1 second. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! I'll be visiting what's called the Delaware Peninsula in the states of Virginia, Delaware, and Maryland. It's gonna be another long day of traveling. Let's go! Let's check out a map to see where I'm going today. I'm now at Virginia Beach, then I'll take the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel to the south end of the peninsula. I'll visit an oceanfront boardwalk and amusement park in Maryland, then see a few places in Delaware, ending just a few feet from the Pennsylvania state line. My first stop is at this small commercial park, about 2 or 3 miles from the beach. There is a large collection of roadside attraction goodness. Take a look at all this. Right here along this busy thoroughfare, there's a little bit of everything here. This is called the Lawyer Garage, which is a constantly changing collection of wacky looking cars and other collectibles. In front of me is the Lawyer Garage Cool Bus. I'm not sure if you can go inside, but there's an open window there. There's also a Barbie car, and also a Barbie box, perfect for that fun pick. Next to the Barbie stuff is a tow mater from the Cars movies. This is the second day in a row seeing a tow mater. There's a General Lee car. Look at the name this tow mater has. It's called Lil Mater, and it's about half the size of a tow truck. Look at this old plane. I'm not sure, but this looks like something that might have been used as a fighter plane in World War II. This looks in good shape too. This is inside. I wonder where he got this plane. Another look at the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard TV show. Here's the top half of King Neptune. I'll be seeing King Neptune again in a few minutes. Back here it looks like a Sinclair dinosaur. Look at this orange VW Bug. This is really cool, and it has the name Bad Bug. Behind that is a small car with giant wheels, and there's a classic Big Boy statue. Another look at the top half of King Neptune. I think he's supposed to hold a scepter or something like that, not a stick. The Lawyer Garage is an auto shop that is operated by collector Aaron Lawyer. Behind the building, during the Christmas season, Lawyer creates an amazing scene from the movie Christmas Vacation. That includes Cousin Eddie's RV. No word if the shitter is full though. This is a really neat stop, and there was so much to see. It's not far from I-264, which ends at the beach, which I'm heading to right now. It's so fairly quiet right now, and I'm hoping to avoid the crowds as I'm making my way to the boardwalk along the Atlantic Ocean. As I walk closer to the boardwalk, it's actually looking pretty busy. Lots of people walking around. I promised you that I'd see King Neptune again, and here he is. This statue is huge! The statue is a gigantic 34 feet tall and weighs 12.5 tons. And as you can see, this is a big photo opportunity. Lots of people, including myself, will be taking a fun pic. He's holding a giant trident in his right hand, and a giant turtle in his left. There are also numerous sea creatures embedded in the concrete base. This marker says, "For the generosity of the Virginia Beach Neptune Festival family of friendship and supporters, the statue of the god of the sea was dedicated on September 2005. This other marker mentions the forward thinking of creating the city in 1963 by combining a seaside resort and rural land to the west of here, and then later creating the King Neptune Festival, held the last weekend in September of each year." You can see how big that turtle is from this vantage point, as well as the other fish and whales that are swimming around him. The people are so small compared to this giant statue. It's actually very busy here right now, and it's only around 9 a.m. I've actually been here close to half an hour getting as much video and photo as I can, while not disturbing anyone. Look at all the people on the beach right now. Actually on the shore, not so much in the water. I think the water is more polluted the farther north you go, unfortunately. The sculptor of the statue is Paul Di Pasquale. Across the boardwalk is a stage for musical performances. There are many different species of fish on the base, but also sea sponges, coral, and other water creatures. This is definitely an awesome sculpture, and if your travels take you to Virginia Beach, put a quarter in the meter and walk over here for a few minutes. And if you happen to be here at the end of September, check out the King Neptune Festival. It sounds like a lot of fun. Does anyone think he looks like Jason Momoa's Aquaman? Anyway, now I have to make my way north, and I'll visit another boardwalk along the Atlantic Ocean later on this morning. But to get there, I have to travel on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel and Toll Road. This highway opened in 1964 as a two-lane road, and the bridge portions added a second carriageway in 1998. And the toll apparently uses surge pricing. During the summer months it costs $21 to cross, but other seasons it costs $15. I mentioned the bridges are 4-lane now, but there are 2 tunnels, and both are still just 2 lanes. By the way, they're serious about the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. There are cops along this thoroughfare. For longtime subscribers to my channel, you may recall where I crossed the Chesapeake Bay Bridge near Annapolis, Maryland. Many people confuse that bridge with the one I'm on now, probably because both cross the Chesapeake Bay. The first tunnel is just ahead. There are plans to construct parallel tunnels to support a continuous 4 lanes of highway from one shore to the other. The first tunnel project is under construction now. It's only 25% complete and might be done in 2027. The second tunnel project won't even start until 2035 at the earliest. You can see all that construction. I think part of it is that they have to make the islands larger, where the bridge transitions to the tunnel. But look how narrow the road becomes as it lowers into the tunnel. And definitely more traffic since you have 4 lanes of traffic that are now squeezed into 2. This particular tunnel is about 1 mile long, 42 feet in diameter, and ascends to 105 feet below sea level. This allows large barges and other large craft to travel to and from the port of Hampton Roads without crossing under a bridge. The port is one of the busiest in the country. Does anyone hold their breath when traveling through a tunnel? I wonder if it's some reaction to being underwater. I'm not one of those people, and just like that, I'm on the other side of the tunnel and going back to another long bridge portion of this highway. I think this carriageway is the shorter of the two bridges, probably because there are no shoulders. It's basically stay in your lane or else flip over the edge. Here's another question. Do you get frightened when driving over a long bridge? About to lose sight of the Virginia Beach shoreline on the right hand side. It is a beautiful day today. Now coming up on the second tunnel, you might be able to see the tunnel entry points on the right hand side, and it looks like this bridge will curve into one of those tunnel openings. Here's the second tunnel coming up. I think this one is about a mile long also, and goes about 100 feet below sea level. This tunnel goes under the channel that leads to and from the Port of Baltimore. The Port of Baltimore has been in the news recently when a barge crashed into one of the support piers of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which destroyed the bridge. Some more fun facts about the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. From shore to shore, it's about 17.5 miles long. 4 million vehicles cross the bridge each year. I asked a question earlier if you don't like driving across long bridges, especially over a body of water. There's a service where you set up a time in advance to be driven across the CBBT. The service doesn't cost anything, but you still have to pay the toll. The Delmarva Peninsula is now in view, probably about 3 miles ahead or so. Another interesting fact, if there are high winds and you have a car top carrier or bike rack on top of your car, they have something called a wind van to transport those items across the bridge tunnel. There are also short emergency pull-offs on this span, but from what I've seen today, those are being used by cops to catch speeders, or being used by cars that have been caught speeding. And finally, I've made it across Chesapeake Bay. Just ahead is the scenic overlook. I like to see if I can get some distant views of the bridge tunnel. There it is. The bridge just seems to go on and on. I guess it really did for over 17 miles, and I can't see Virginia Beach from here due to the curvature of the earth. Lots of shipping barges in the distance. They have just opened the Port of Baltimore to full operations as of the filming of this episode, so there's a huge backlog to work through. See all of them out there? Probably 5 miles away or so. They're either coming or going from Baltimore. I don't think there's any other major port in that direction besides Baltimore. 30 miles later, on the right is Royal Farms, well known for getting cheap gas and cheap cigarettes, because it's just south of the state line. Welcome to Maryland. And my first stop in Maryland is the Welcome Center. Sometimes the Welcome Centers have something special, So let's see what this one has. Today is Sunday, so the Welcome Center should be open every day except for Mondays, but it doesn't appear to be open today either. But the bathrooms are open. Some informational markers for what's in this general area, including a mansion that survived not one, but 2 fires in the 1860s. Also some other places to see in this part of Maryland, and also some cultural treasures to visit. Also along US 113, which we'll be traveling on, there are some locations pertinent to the Civil War, and as the blue panel says, stand in the footsteps and hear the personal stories of people involved in the Civil War. About 15 minutes later, I made my way to my next stop, Ocean City, Maryland. This is considered a resort town, and there is a very large boardwalk with lots of shops and amusement park rides. I might just spend the whole day here and check out every shop and ride along the boardwalk, but there are a couple of rides that are on my list. The first ride is this giant Ferris wheel. It costs $8 per person. I'm hoping to get some nice views of the boardwalk and ocean. The camera's a little jumpy because I'm sticking the lens part through the metal fencing in the car, and I think the gimbal is slipping out a little bit. But I'm getting a nice view of the ocean from this direction. It's clouded up a little, so the temperature is really nice right now, probably mid-70s. This is a pretty good view of the ocean. I can't tell if you can actually swim in the ocean though. There's a great view of the boardwalk, and it looks like it goes on for miles. I see where the quote, traditional beach is. This is a really nice area, pretty touristy, and I think a lot of people's second homes are here. Here's a view looking south, and down there is the inlet and jetty. This is where watercraft can travel between the ocean and the bays, separating the barrier islands from the mainland. Quick peek at some of the carnival rides they have here. A lot of them are geared toward kids. Not too bad, the Ferris wheel went up pretty high, and I got some good views. All the rides are a little on the pricey side, but this is Maryland. This was the other ride I'm here for, Trimper's Haunted House. This is a dark ride that opened in 1964. It was built by Granville Trimper and designed by Bill Tracy. The attraction was redesigned in 1988 to accommodate a second floor and to modernize some special effects. There's a long line of people, and we all have to wait here to be placed in my coffin. This attraction is only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And yeah, the ride car is a coffin. This ride is definitely a throwback to the 60s. It's something that's a lot of fun, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to Disney to enjoy. Just $8 and the ride lasts about 6 minutes. A quick warning, there are some brief strobe lights on the ride.
Those who trespass here are rarely seen again.
Alright, here we go.
It couldn't happen to you, could it? Well, remember, here in the land of the undead, you are the ghosts,
That was pretty fun. I bet in the 1960s when this opened, this was something not a lot of people experienced before. In 2024, it's a nostalgia factor. Okay, we did a lot of shopping also, but I didn't film inside the stores. Need to head out. But first, take a look at this small cannon and large anchor. The cannon looks kinda old, so let's see. This cannon was manufactured by the British in 1750, almost 500 years ago. This marker says it was likely acquired by the Americans during the Revolutionary War. It was found in the 1980s by a developer in front of a warehouse in Baltimore. It was common for old cannons to be used as building corner posts to prevent damage to the corners. And it turns out the anchor is a relic as well. According to this marker, the anchor weighs 2.5 tons and was recovered from the sailboat wreck, which is a well-known shipwreck. Looks like they put a fresh coat of paint on it, and I guess the anchor is made of wood. It doesn't look like metal. This is the tiger shark that weighed 1,210 pounds, was caught 27 miles off the coast of Ocean City by Grace Cherniak on July 9th, 1983. It took her 3.5 hours to finally reel in the big fish. I'm pretty sure this isn't the actual fish, but it's a representation of it. And that's a really big fish. There was a picture of her with a big fish, so she definitely had proof that she caught it and reeled it in. This is a good perspective of the fish against that motorized wheelchair, and the fact she held on to it for 3.5 hours and she eventually prevailed. That's really amazing. Now walking along the walkway next to the inlet, there is one more thing I wanted to see real quick before we head north. It's something familiar. You may recognize this type of wooden sculpture of a Native American. This is another creation from Peter Toth. This is Nanticoke, the Inlet Indian. This was created in 1976 and made out of white oak. It was restored in 2006, but damaged by Superstorm Sandy in 2012. It's been recently restored once again, but it definitely has been affected by the elements. Lots of people have been using this inlet to go between the ocean and the bay. It's a little windy along the water too, but still a nice day. There have been people using their own boats, and I've seen the occasional larger boats doing tours of the coastline. There are a few of these oceanfront boardwalks in this part of the country. Atlantic City in New Jersey, Rehoboth Beach in Delaware come to mind. I think President Biden has a home at Rehoboth Beach. I won't be going to those places today, but if you look in the median coming up, I am now crossing into the state of Delaware. I'm on a 2-lane road to go to my next stop, and I was very surprised to see all this farmland here. I guess I expected Delaware to be completely filled out with no crops whatsoever, but this looks like cornfields. I did some research after getting home, and corn is Delaware's #1 crop. It's grown on 40% of all land suited for agriculture. I guess cue the NBC The More You Know music. Beer! Right there on the pavement. I will say I'm at a microbrewery, and a very popular one, as I had some trouble finding a parking space. Looks like over there, lots of grain elevators. Those grain elevators are next to the microbrewery. Maybe they're storing hops in them? I'm not sure, and I'm not getting any beer, so let's see what I'm here for. This is really busy here. I'm at the Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, and this is the Steampunk Treehouse. This recycled steel treehouse is 40 feet tall. I go inside, but there are a lot of people in the treehouse also. This was used in the 2007 Burning Man Festival, which is held annually in the deserts of Nevada. But it wasn't needed after the festival ended, so it was sold to this microbrewery so they could bring in some business. So in 2010, this treehouse was installed in the grassy area in front, and it definitely brought in the business. I read on Roadside America that the treehouse was restricted to employees only, but I saw kids up top, so I guess they've allowed customers to go in there. This is not far from a lot of big cities like Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Annapolis, even Washington, D.C. I guess the food is good here also, since it's so busy and it's the middle of the day. Now on Highway 1 heading north, and traffic has increased considerably. I have a couple of stops off this road. The first of those stops is in the city of Milford. I'm at Extreme Graphics, which is an art studio, and in front of this building is a 20-foot tall Quaker man. It's not technically a muffler man, but the height is pretty close, about 20 feet tall, and this big guy has moved around Delaware for at least the last 25 years. It was at a pancake restaurant, which became a comfort food type restaurant in Dover, and then in 2000 it was moved to a used car dealer in Milford. Then it was placed in storage for a few years back in Dover. Now he's back in Milford, and it has been here since about 2013. The business has changed over the years, and it is now an art studio, but the big guy has been here, and looks to have a fresh coat of paint. You can see how much traffic is on this road. This is a very busy thoroughfare from the beach to Dover. This kind of looks like it was an auto repair shop at one time. See those tall garage doors on the side? This Quaker man is not considered somewhat of a landmark, but with all the traffic, I'm not sure that people will see him very well from the road. Alright, let's head to my next stop, also on this busy road. And just a mile up, there's a brief lull in the traffic, which is really surprising. Take a look at all this. There are so many tikis over here. There has to be several dozen tikis. When I filmed this, it was in fact Father's Day, and I think this business sells tikis, as well as other wood carvings, like that blue fish. It gives me the Hawaii vibes, right in the middle of Delaware. Here's a wood carving that kind of looks like the Gordon's fisherman. Here's a cute red parrot. The people that make these wood carvings are very talented. I'm at a business called Tiki Murph. They sell not only the wood carvings, but also tiki huts, hammocks, and anything else that you can think of. This is an incredible display of woodworking. We're getting closer to Halloween. It's only 4 months away, but these wooden Halloween items will last almost forever. They have a few Gordon's fishermen, and also carvings of brown bears. All the tikis are so colorful, and it looks like each one is custom made. The tiki huts and tiki bars are custom made too. Really beautiful woodworking done here. I almost wish I could buy a tiki and take it home, but it would be out of place in my home in the country. I'm now roughly in the center of the state, in Dover, which is also Delaware's state capital. This is the beautiful Capitol building, which is called the Delaware Legislative Hall. It does have a colonial look to it, doesn't it? The original Capitol building is called the Old State House, which opened in 1792, which today is a museum. It was replaced by this edifice in 1933, and was expanded in 1970. This is an interesting centerpiece with the soldiers. This marker may explain, which is a representation of the Delaware Regiment, which were 500 troops that served in numerous battles during the American Revolution. On weekdays, there are guided tours where you can see the inside of this building, but today is Sunday and the building is closed. Another look at that centerpiece, with 3 troops in the battle formation, serving our young country after the Declaration of Independence. At the bottom of the base it says Liberty and Independence. I can add this to the list of state capitals I visited. I don't know the actual number, but I'm thinking probably 25 or 30 states at least. But anyway, I can now add Delaware state capital of Dover to the list. Walking back to my car, and you see various politicians and other officials have their own assigned parking spaces. And I'm guessing the more important you are, the closer to the front of the building. This is a beautiful building for sure. Alright, moving on. Now at Apex Medical Center. I'm in the city of Newark, but still in Delaware though. I know there's a more famous Newark in New Jersey. Look at this outside of the building. Would you look at the size of that bag? It's gargantuan. This is a very large flat-stone bag, more commonly called a medical bag, with an equally large stethoscope drapes outside the bag. And this is recognized as the world's largest medical bag. But it's not recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, so it's not really official. Anyway, I'm not too far away from Interstate 95. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the medical bag, but in the past, many doctors used to go directly to the patient's homes. There are home health nurses that go to their patients' homes, but usually that's if you're unable to take yourself. My mama did that job for many years. There are signs all around the bag to keep off it, so I assume that means no touching it, and certainly don't climb on top of it. This huge medical bag is roughly 15 feet tall and 20 feet wide. I haven't found out who actually created this medical bag, so if you know, please leave me a comment. Alright, moving on. My next stop takes me to Newcastle, Delaware, which is a beautiful and historic town in Delaware, and it's a shame I'm here just for one place, which is Packet Alley. This one alley has been used by many significant figures in American history, when this alley led to what were called packet boats, which transported cargo and passengers. But take a look at this marker, and take a look at who walked this alley. Andrew Jackson, David Crockett, Daniel Webster, Henry Clay, Lord Ashburton, Sam Houston, Louis Napoleon, Stonewall Jackson, and numerous Native American tribe leaders. They were all on their way to visit Washington, D.C. That's a real who's who of American history. It's a damn shame I'm only here to see this because there's so much more here. I will be back. In the distance is the skyline for the city of Wilmington. It's the largest city in Delaware and considered part of the greater Philadelphia metropolitan area. I guess that makes sense since I'm about 40 miles away from Philly. I'm not far from my next stop, which is just inside the state of Delaware. At the corner of Ebert Road and Ramblewood Drive, just a block from the Pennsylvania state line, and something of geographical interest. This marker over here says I'm at the Ebright Azimuth, and this is the highest point in the state of Delaware. At this three-way stop, and they've even created this extra concrete and fake brick thing down here. They did that both to make sure cars will stop properly, and to give a little space in case you want to get a fun pic of this sign. The highest benchmark monument in Delaware is located on Ebright Road. At 447.85 feet above sea level, which is really precise if you ask me, was established to be at this point according to the Delaware Geological Society and the National Geodetic Survey. Looking north of Pennsylvania, a little bit of a downward slope. Looking south toward Wilmington, also a downward slope. Looks like a high point to me. And when the sign said a benchmark, did they mean this benchmarks the spot? This now makes the 9th state high point that I visited, but I will say Delaware's high point is higher than Florida's. Now a wide view of the high point, you see the road going around the area, and there's a sign and bench with some shade and trees behind them. One more stop before I leave Delaware. I was hungry, so I got something to eat, but in Delaware, there's no cell sites. This is where people in neighboring states go shopping to save a few bucks, or a lot of bucks.
This is a really busy day, driving through 3 states, and what I didn't film was our drive to Washington, D.C. later that night, which was about 2 hours away. I'm very much looking forward to visiting the district, but you'll see that next time. Thanks for watching, bye!